This is an open letter to the Sane Society. Salute. Bravo, the Sane Society. Bravo. Bravo, NPR. The thing is, it was once the numbers came out, I think if for nothing, Elon Musk should be canonized. Can he become a saint? Because let's put it this way, Trump and Elon Musk, my NPR friends, if nothing, at least they are, showing everybody behind the curtains that yes, we do have an empire. Because like there was somebody tweeted, President Trump tweeted a picture of the Houthis that were blown up, the whole circle of them, and somebody wrote that, well, we had to wait for a WikiLeaks leak to see this shit. Now the president just puts it on his own Twitter. So it's, at least this is my thing with you, the folks at the NPR. You're all Democrats, but you're all champagne Democrats. Like Mr. Vance says, limousine Democrats. You're not in the trenches. I mean, Mr. Steve Inskeep with $500,000, he gets paid $500,000 a year. You can't live in the trenches with $500,000 income a year. Even if you wanted to, you cannot live in the trenches with $500,000 a year income. Even if you wanted to, with that much money, you can't really, suffer through, depression and economic situation and this and that. No, you're 2 years, you got $1 million. On a savings budget. Are you fucking kidding me? How can, and so these are champagne Democrats or limousine Democrats or progressive, not Democrats, progressive. Because, Democratic Party wants to, sees itself, has passed itself for so long as the progressive party. But it has only used the progressive part to give shield to imperialist ideas, to give political cover, use, your champagne progressive point of view to be able to give a political cover to very imperialist activity and hide the evidence. The droning and the bombing and the this and that, hide the evidence and the chain of command that ended up in, any of the Democratic presidents. So it had to be a WikiLeaks leak once in a while for the population of the planet to find out that, so it's like a couple of people at the top with a specific last name, Bushes and Clintons and a few last name people who very rich people have supported, get the job, and they keep blowing shit up on, on the other side of the planet, and they follow the chain of command. But they kind of tried to, and everything was covered up. The chain of command was covered up, and sometimes the WikiLeaks had to come out and say, somebody leaked this information. They didn't want you to know. This is the chain of command, and everything ends up at the Anglo-Saxon end of the phone line. The Anglo-Saxon end of the phone line gives an okay, and the Ashkenazi end of the phone line execute the okay. Or the Taiwanese execute the okay, or the Ukrainians execute the okay. I mean, Mr. McCain. was basically holding this side of the phone line, Mr. Uh, the guy in charge of Zelensky, the charge of Ukraine, holding that side of the line. He said okay, and he shoots. So it had to be WikiLeaks leak to find out that actually these were the people behind the show. And every time the leak was that there was a straight white Anglo-Saxon man, usually was the other end of the line, or somebody who identified as straight white Anglo-Saxon. I mean, if you ask, Patrick Bet-David, he identifies as Anglo-Saxon. He doesn't look like it, but he identifies as Anglo-Saxon because of, I guess, his religion and his perspective in life. But every time the white Anglo-Saxon man, or a wannabe white Anglo-Saxon man, or similar looking to a white Anglo-Saxon man, gives the order, but every time these orders are for the benefit of white straight Anglo-Saxon man and the decimation of a whole bunch of tribe over there. Salute. Democrat were trying to the Progressive Party was trying to cover this imperialist bullshit by coming up with a guy with the middle name Hussein, which he was totally on board with this imperialist bullshit. You ask Barack, I think he identifies as a straight white male. That's why the problem didn't stop at Obama, because he identifies as straight white male, Anglo-Saxon. That's the part. Here's the thing. Her mother, who was, Barack Obama's mother, a very white female of probably Anglo-Saxon related lineage, and brought him up, and the religion that they're associated with, I guess Baptist. So basically he grows up in this environment. So he might be black, but Barack Obama identity is white because was raised around whoever his mother was associated with. You don't, when you're raised in a white family, you identify as white. And that's why a lot of black children who are raised in white families identify as white. Their real identities, they might look black, but their real identity was white. That's the whole selling point of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The uncle's family, they identified as white. They looked black, but because they were the parents were somehow adopted by a white family at one point, so the culture has passed down, so the cultures separate. No two people have the same culture, because you get associated with other cultures through life, with other religions through life. So it's everybody has their own can develop their own very specific culture. Your culture is the result of your experiences. Your culture is the result of your experiences. So you can't really say that Barack Obama is a straight black man. No, he's a straight white man. He believes he's a straight white man. He behaves as a straight white man because he was raised around a very straight, normal, regular white family, except the father was missing. So no, he's very white. That's why the droning never stopped, because as far as because the policy is defined that why you pick such certain policy, because it benefits you. The only thing that is the deciding factor, what is the correct policy, is what benefits us. Now, if we can, get our flag inside with their flag, always side by side, Well, they identify with us. That's why you keep saying the Israeli flag right next to the American flag, and as many representatives and senators as possible. That's they pay for their flag to be there because they want Americans to identify with this flag. Now, this flag is doing a lot of bloody business over there, but if they identify with it, they're willing to give it an okay. Do you identify with so much bloodshed? Then one has to ask, why do you identify with so much bloodshed? Why do you want to identify with so much bloodshed? It's for the Sane Society. I mean, you get to have the empire, but not to do crazy shit with it. You get to have the empire to treat it with kid glove. And this is the problem with the champagne progressives, is that they basically start seeing themselves as the ideal of the world. I'm doing well, my friends are doing well, I'm getting paid $500,000 to read from a script that people who are even getting paid even more than I prepare those scripts. Isn't that the case? NPR is sort of like, who writes your scripts? Other champagne progressives who are willing to say, yes, it's a great idea to go to Afghanistan to free their women of their men and their nasty ways. It's ridiculous that we have to go free them, we have to go bring them democracy, and this is what the progressive party, which Democrats keep identifying themselves at, is that no, you're not progressive party. You have been selling imperialism through a very rose-colored glass of we are there to do good. We have to invade them in order to do them good. If I don't come to your house, how can I rape you if I don't get to come to your house? I have to come to your house in order for me to rape you. No, we can't do it from behind the door. And this is the progressive cover that the NPR and outlets like NPR, MSNBC, and this is the progressive. Forget about the regressive. This is the progressive party that is you've been selling. You have been selling imperialism with a very beautiful, by giving that some beautiful colors to the Sane Society. And your representative, your candidates have been doing a lot of behind the curtain, pushing the drone button. The Republicans, they just push the drone button right in front of you. Mr. Trump is doing it. He's basically Stephen Colbert, old character in the White House. He pushes the drone button right in front of you. And then the Democrats are all the progressives are all screaming, this is crazy. No, crazy is when you call yourself progressive party and try to give, progressive cover to imperialism. Just give a nice sheen of progressive cover to imperialism. Thank you very much. You've been good salespeople, my friends at the NPR, at the PBS, but you have done nothing but give political cover to some nasty shit in the name of doing good. And then now you're screaming why Why? Basically, what they're saying is, why isn't Trump hiding the button? Why isn't Trump pushing the button behind the curtain? Why isn't Trump pushing the button so in a vulgar manner in front of everybody? Why not? So you don't have a problem with when Mr. Hussein Obama was pushing the button behind the curtain. Then it came out that, until his president, he was the top, drone killer of his time, killing all these, cocksuckers in the Middle East that were not beneficial to the Anglo-Saxon prosperity. Any cocksucker anywhere in the world that is not going to be beneficial to the Anglo-Saxons, not all Anglo-Saxons, it's, the 10% on top. Anybody who's not going to be beneficial to the 10% Anglo-Saxons on top, on the very top, is a potential drone target. Hey, you're not beneficial to our interests, we might zap you. Anybody else? Who wants us to zap them? So, and the only problem of the progressive party, or party who identifies as progressive, is that no, we should elect the brown lady to do the button pushing behind the curtain. We shouldn't just elect a vulgar old white dude who has no fear of he doesn't mind not being looked as a progressive, and he pushes the button right in front of all of us. That's unheard of. I can just see Mr. Humphrey Appleby turning in his grave. Salute. In pushing the button of drones and strikes and wars and this in front of everybody on Twitter apparently is the only crime of Mr. Trump. No, you don't do it so in such a vulgar manner. You push the button behind the curtain and deny the whole thing, like Israelis have been doing for 80 years now. A group of Ashkenazi in the Middle East have been pushing the button from behind the curtain and neither confirming nor denying it. It's sort of like, we don't want to show you our button. It's that simple. We don't want to show you that we push the button, but you can assume we have pushed the button. That's the way Netanyahu does it. Then the Israel, not poor Netanyahu, he's a child of the tribe. The way he's doing it, as would a child of such tribe would. He spent most of his life in Israel, so he's the child of his tribe. And this is how he does what he does, because it's a child of this tribe. So you can't really say, oh, Netanyahu is a bad guy. No, poor man. He was born in a tribe, he was raised like this, and he's doing like this. His name could be anything. Does it matter what his name is? And you're supporting it, and you're giving it a progressive cover. That, oh no, these poor people, we killed a lot of them. Let them kill some of the other guys. We killed a lot of them, so therefore we give them the okay to kill some other guys. I'm sorry, apparently you forgot to repent for your killing, so therefore you give right to some other people to do a lot of killing. It's sort of like, that's when, Mr. Biden, the progressive, is asked that why did you give the okay for Mr. Netanyahu to turn the whole thing into a graveyard. In Gaza, he said because He told me you guys did the same thing in Dresden. Yeah, the same white Anglo-Saxons are giving the same orders, and just like a child asking the parent, you let my brother do that, so therefore you have to let me do this. A child, literally. Imagine such a spoiled brat that says, because you let my brother do that, you have to let me do this. Hey, this is basically Israel as a bratish child of Uncle Sam, a bastard child of Uncle Sam, and Queen Elizabeth. The bastard child of Uncle Sam and Queen Elizabeth is Israel. And, well, maybe the legitimate child. I don't know. Depends on your perspective. Probably the legitimate child. It is the legitimate child. There is a fucking document for it. So this is the legitimate child of Uncle Sam and Queen Elizabeth. And it says, because, hey, Uncle Sam, Dad, because you let Mom, the British, bomb Dresden to powder, you have to let us bomb all these Arabs to powder, and the Iranians, and the Persians, and maybe the Pakistanis. We go up to India, clear everything. Clear everything of what? You destroy the unity of these tribes, and you set them all free to turn to fucking impotent Europe? The impotency of Europe is because, European Union doesn't have any teeth to it. There's no really union. A union that you can walk out at any time you like is not really a union. So, a union of ICC, International Criminal Court, is not really a union if any member can just walk out and say, up to yesterday we agreed with whatever you said, now we don't agree with your judgment, so we're walking out, have a nice day. The same thing with the United Nations. There should be such a shame involved with that. It's sort of like anybody uses a veto, or anybody who walks out of United Nations has to be blockaded by all members by United Nations law. That's when you may end up with having a united planet. That no nation should have a veto right, no nation should have the right to just walk out. Okay, no military action, walk out. Nobody do business with them. But the problem is the walking out part is, right now the walking out is Uncle Sam the father. It every time gets to walk out along with Israel the son, the naughty son, and the fucking Elizabeth, the Elizabethan British walking along. It's like two parents and the son. The son is very naughty in school. Imagine Israel is the naughty son in school, and every time the parents have to be called to, because this naughty son has done something bad in school, that apparently the Ashkenazis like to go to school on Arabian Peninsula. It's like, here's to the Sane Society. Ashkenazis have gone to school in Arabian Peninsula, then the naughty son does some bad shit in school on Arabian Peninsula, and every time the parents, Uncle Sam and Queen Elizabeth, have to go and save. And instead of talking to the naughty child that has to behave with his neighbors, his school mates, in order to exist in the school, he has to behave himself. Instead of doing that, Uncle Sam and Queen Elizabeth go and provide more arms to this kid on in an Arabian Peninsula. It's sort of like providing more arms to the kid to hit the teacher with. Imagine parents going to school helping their son or daughter beat the teacher. Do you know what kind of parents do that? Very, very selfish parents, very stupid parents actually go to school on behalf of their child to beat up the teacher, or to the parents have to be very spoiled, very racist, thinking of themselves and their race so high and so mighty that they know better than the teacher who's been certified by some fucking certified place. Again, go back to the progressives. You are the guys, the progressive, the champagne progressives. You are the guys who have agreed to spend more money in expansion of the empire than to educate your own people. What kind of progressives you are you are okay with your education budget being 1/10 of your defense budget? And this was and is all under all progressive presidents as well. Mr. Biden, he was involved in he started a couple of wars. Apparently, all legitimate. Self-defense. In defense of the empire. Here's the thing. And you're appalled, clutch my pearls, that why Obama is playing the cards in such a vulgar manner. Why? The whole point of Biden's and before him Obama's the whole foreign policy team was to start a war here, and therefore try to get some kind of chemical concessions for BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. That's, these are people who own everything, and once we get some land somewhere, we get our corporations together and go over there and exploit the land properly, in the proper manner. You're giving progressive cover to that. This is the sin of NPR, is that I've heard on NPR they say, how dare they're passing such a military budget, when Mr. Ray Dalio said, here's the thing, Mr. John Stewart, Mr. Ray Dalio is one of the sane people. Maybe you want to have him on your show, Mr. John Stewart. Ray Dalio said, and he's right, he does his homework. Let's put it this way, he's not a saint, but he does his homework. So, basically said 60% of the population reading skill is below the 6th grade level. So what does that mean? That means their intellect is of that range. If your reading skill is of that range, your intellect is also of that range. You see where I'm going with this? So this is happening while the NPR hosts and those who write the scripts for these hosts don't really mind that. You're okay with 50-60% of the population not having proper reading level, having been intellectually being in step, follow WWF and WWE, and intellectually not very curious about anything beside any kind of a physical contact. You see, whether be it fighting or sex or eating, something of that nature, eat, fight, sex, any kind of thing of that nature has a very good market in your population. Why are champagne progressives are okay with that? Because They don't want to spend money in it. They're champagne Democrats. They think that they have some kind of a goody two-shoe mission to go and save the world and make everybody democratic. Everybody should look like me because I am perfect. I mean, how blind can you be when you say we have to go and make everybody democratic? This is like saying everybody should look like me. And because I am perfect, you know, when they say perfect union, perfect this, perfect that, great this, great that, that means being so proud of your own penis. So this penis is perfect. Democracy is perfect because this is how I run my shit. Everybody should look like me. Everybody should hope to look like me. To the Sane Society. This is what I'm saying. That this is what champagne progressives have bought and are selling. This is what champagne progressives have bought, and this is exactly what they're selling. I am perfect. Me perfect. We got democracy, we got capitalism, we got constitution. We are perfect. And everybody should look like us. If not by will, by force. Okay. Salute. Seriously? This is what you're selling at NPR. This is the progressive wing of the country, supposedly, that is selling imperialism by these high-minded ideas that everybody should look like us. Their women should walk around in miniskirts and, you know, should not get married at 12. They should get married at 40 like us. And this is what I'm saying, that, you know, the problem here is that NPR, you are champagne, not only the announcers, but really the people who write these scripts and people who support the writing of these scripts are a bunch of hypocrites that have been selling imperialism, packaging imperialism in self-righteousness. That, you know, we are the best, we are democracies, we're capitalism. Nobody, half the country didn't, you know, half the NPR didn't wake up and say, hey, maybe Vietnam is not a good idea. Nope. The government line is this, we are going to announce this, and we are going to provide you with this kind of opinion, i.e. sell imperialism as something noble. They should want to look like us, and if they don't, it's because they're not using the correct side of their brain. They should love to look like us. Democracy is capitalist, you know, Hollywood. The Sane Society. And this is the progressives. And your only issue with Trump is that why doesn't he push the button from behind the fucking curtain very quietly? And, you know, keep saying that we are the good guys and we are the good guys and we are blowing them up for their own good. No, Trump is blowing them up and showing everybody, hey, you see, and this is what I did today. Boom. Revenge. One of those primal urges. It's the same act. These guys did it, those guys did it, everyone. Here's the problem with that NPR. If you're the empire, you should want to keep stability in order to keep your empire stable. That's how you extend the life of your empire. By to keep an empire stable, you have to be fair. Yes, you're not going to win 100% of the time. But if you're fair, everybody lets you keep the empire. But when you start not being fair, you lose credibility. Israel is basically, after South Africa and now Israel, Uncle Sam's managers have lost absolutely total credibility with regards to 8.5 billion population of planet Earth. I mean, you have to be indoctrinated with some crazy shit to see the crazy shit in Israel and not object. You have to be indoctrinated or blackmailed. You have to be indoctrinated or blackmailed to see the crazy shit is that happening to people on the other side of the planet Earth, to see that and not object. And if you're not indoctrinated, or you haven't been blackmailed and you do object, okay, we're going to grab you and put you in jail and prosecute you. Let's start with the foreigners and then we get to the natives next. And somehow somebody thought this is a good idea. Absolutely not. Because if you have a good system, more or less, you don't have a good system, but more or less, if you have a good system, trying to change it and make it more military just because you don't agree with the perspective of some of the participants in the party, it's not going to make the party any better. Let's put it this way. If you have disagreement with anybody in the party, you try to continue the conversation and get the disagreement out of the way through productive conversation. But the problem is you don't want to have a productive conversation. This is a purely colonial act in Israel, in Jordan, in Egypt, in Syria. This is a purely colonialist act done by white people on brown people. And the Ashkenazis have volunteered to be the tip of the spear. And this is my thing, that why have Ashkenazis volunteered to be the tip of the spear into Asia? Here's this to the very smart people. Salute. That's the thing. Really? And prosecuting anybody who doesn't agree with you, you're going down the bad road, you're headed down the wrong path when nobody is following you, and you have a few who resist your movement down this bad dark path. You try to eliminate anybody who objects to it. Nobody follows you at their will. You're pulling a lot of people with you, and they want to resist, and you say no. You have to be indoctrinated, or you have to be blackmailed into going down a very dark, dangerous path, which is where Uncle Sam's managers are headed in West Asia, in East Asia, in Eastern Europe. You're headed down a very dark and bloody, dangerous path, and anybody who objects, you prosecute? those who object to the situation in Palestine, Israel, whatever you want to call it, those who object to the situation there, you prosecute and say nope, no objection is acceptable. Why? Why would you not allow objections? Here's the thing, this is how we make good decisions. When we converse with other people of other ideas, then after that conversation, we can reevaluate our point of view. No point of view, no perspective should be so rigid to say that no, I don't want to hear what you have to say in order to be able to reevaluate my ideas. No, my ideas are going to stay the same and you're going to shut the fuck up. And this is the result of at least 50 years of the educational system that the NPR has approved. Here's the thing, the NPR writers, those who write the scripts, here's the thing, folks. You have been stamping okay on every kind of foreign invasion all along, providing some kind of foreign action, foreign military action, putting your stamp of okay on that, and giving it some kind of intellectual progressive cover. Like Miss Marianne Williamson, because people adapt what you say. Mrs. Marianne Williamson probably consider herself as a progressive. You see what I mean? And so she gives and takes information from other champagne progressives like herself and all the script writers in NPR, for NPR, and whoever works there. So they're on the same wavelength. So they keep going back and forth that yes, and this back and forth eventually ends up meaning that yes, we should go and save them, ending up meaning that giving a very progressive cover to some nasty imperialist shit. The kind of shit that Anglo-Saxons enjoy very much. Just giving it a progressive cover. We have to go save them, and they have to look like us because we are perfect. It's very arrogant. The whole perspective is very arrogant. Stating that blowing smoke up one's own ass is very arrogant. It's sort of like, oh, we are the only one who have a constitution, and our constitution is so good that, dude, you had McCarthy, the old McCarthy and the new McCarthy. You had J. Edgar Hoover. You had, are you fucking kidding me? Anybody who ever tried to step out of line with this your freedom business, you shot them. From Malcolm X to JFK, anybody who wasn't, you shot them. I'm sorry. This idea that we must be going the right path, although anybody who doesn't agree with us gets shot. Salute. Must be the right path. Anybody who doesn't agree with me, I'm going to shoot them to prove that it's the right path. That's the whole business of Israel. It's certainly, you don't agree with me, boom. How about you? Who doesn't agree with me? I'm gonna shoot whoever doesn't agree with me. Mr. Netanyahu had the audacity to give Trump one of the pagers with bombs in them, or I guess it didn't have the bomb, it was just a pager, but it was a sample of the pagers they used. This is like if the son giving the father, the son being Israel, giving Uncle Sam, the father, a trophy of hunting down, a trophy representing their hunt of the natives in Asia. A son, Israel, have gone big game hunting in Asia and have killed a bunch of Asians, brown Asians, and made himself a trophy in gold, and another one, a pager of the same variety but in regular pager, one in gold and one in regular pager, both giving the gold one to the President of the United States, symbolizing that the father bringing a trophy he made for himself for mowing down the natives, big game hunting in Asia of the natives, give that trophy to Trump, and then the son threatening the father, Uncle Sam, with a regular pager that if you don't continue funding me, beating up the natives over there, I might blow you up, motherfucker. That was the interpretation of Netanyahu providing two pagers, you know, giving two pagers as presents to Trump. The gold one as a trophy they made for themselves, giving to their father and showing the father, Uncle Sam, Trump, their big game hunting trophy, and then threatening the father that we might also blow you up. We don't mind getting a stepdad. They're all stepdads. The mother are the British. The mother is always there. The British are the root of our evil. They created Israel. They created Kashmir. They created Taiwan, and they created Hong Kong, and the British they created South Africa, they created Israel. The British is the root of all evil is in fucking British Island. But the problem is, you know, Uncle Sam have decided to go to bed with the Queen for a very long time, with the British for a very long time. So in a way, Uncle Sam has adopted all these British bastards around the world, from Israel to Kashmir to Ukraine to Taiwan, Hong Kong, to these are all British bastards, and Uncle Sam has brought his own bastards, the Japanese and the and it's unfortunate for NPR to be selling this bullshit white imperialism and trying to give it a nice progressive sheen to it, as something we are going there to do something good for the native, or not vehemently objecting to it. It's like if you're not, if 60% of your population is out of our at sixth grade reading skill, that means you are not doing the right thing with education, you're obviously not doing the right thing with the healthcare, you're not doing the right thing with housing and food and this and that, you know, thank God for RFK. But you're not doing these things, but you're okay with all kinds of money going to, like, the defense budget. We don't have any objections to that. If you're progressive and you're okay with the children of your tribe being going without education, healthcare, welfare, but you're okay with the defense budget being 10 times everything else budget, then if you're okay with that, then you're champagne progressive. A real progressive who doesn't make $500,000 a year, Mr. Steve Inskeep, a real progressive would himself or herself be making $50,000 a year and being on NPR and getting paid $50,000 a year, then he would have a lot of other things on his mind to talk about on air. Then considering that, talking about that we are there to do something good, imperialism is good, we have to bring them our ways, democracy is the best, yes, invading them in order to bring them our form of government is the best way to go because we are the best. Of course we are the best. I'm getting paid $500,000 a year. If this is not the best, then what is? But well, the problem is you are not as a normal sample of the society. The speakers, the writers, the producers, the people who are working for that and getting paid such huge salaries are not really, they don't have the same concerns as the majority of the society who is making $50,000 a year with under 6th grade level of reading skills. So you don't know what is their problem because their problem is not your problem. Here's the thing, folks, economics, a lot of times, even within the same society, there are different economic classes have different cultures. Even within one society, different economic classes have different cultures. This, again, this idea of the champagne progressives, that my cultural perspective is the right, must be the right cultural perspective because it's me. My penis is the best penis because it's mine. My culture is the best culture. My form of government is the best form of government. My form of economy is the best form of economy. This is what, this is the political cover that the progressives, supposed progressives, have provided in NPR for imperialism, giving progressive cover, facade to some nasty imperialist behavior, and you know that Mrs. Clinton exhibited. But for that we had to wait. She pushed the buttons behind the curtain. Mrs. Victoria Nolan was pushed, that she was caught on tape saying some things about fuck the Europeans, we're going to start a fire here. She meant to push that button behind the curtains. The Russians caught that on tape, spied on her, caught it on tape, and played it for the rest of the world. i.e., a very progressive wing of the progressive party being caught doing some nasty imperialist shit, i.e., starting fire where there was no fire. And you're all appalled with that, and that's why you want to shoot that guy who ran to Russia. You're okay with pushing the nasty button behind the curtain, my NPR friends. You're okay with that, and you pretend you don't see it. Then I'm sorry, you're not progressives. Progressives, you know, don't want to close their eyes on the reality. Progressives present the reality, and progressives are not so in love with themselves, like to blow so much smoke and so much hot air up of their own ass that it blinds them. Progressives are not like that. Progressives are very humble. Progressives say to each his own. Progressives say, no, we don't have the best system, we don't have the best constitution, we don't have the best form of economy, we don't have the best form of government, we are not going to export anything. This is what a progressive says. We are here to learn from others. Ours is not the best. We agree. This is what a progressive would say. Mine is not the best. You know, one of the things that I have a feeling with the 6th grade level education level, reading level, 6th grade reading level of the 60% of the population, that's why, you know, many identify a lot with Trump. Because he behaves, and with Boris Johnson. You have raised the population of, if you raise a population of brutes, they like brutes and they behave like brutes and they like brutes. Goofy. Hooligan. Trump in a way is a hooligan. So is Boris Johnson. The identifiers of these two are kind of, he does it his way, he doesn't care, he's the hooligan of the classroom. Both Trump and Boris Johnson can be considered as being such. So why does your population so approving of hooligans? Maybe because you didn't spend much money in their education. Maybe because those people who said, oh, we are sane and we are democratic candidate of the party for the big job, all they did was they pushed the bad button, the nasty button behind the curtain, and blew people up and started wars. And you gave it a progressive cover of, you know, we are there to do good. We are bombing them, you know, in order to eventually do them some good. Or the whole idea of Israel, of a bunch of Europeans who got screwed by other Europeans, and suddenly these Europeans got the right to go into Asia and screw a bunch of Asians. You know, Europeans keep giving the thumbs up to smaller groups of Europeans to go and defeat the natives somewhere. Europeans, you know, white people, give the thumbs up a lot of times to other Europeans, agree and encourage and supply other Europeans in order to go, for these Europeans to go and invade the natives of some land and defeat them. That's what they did with North America and South America. European countries supported the European colonies in America, and the whole objective was to go and defeat the natives and remove them from the land. Europeans supported Europeans in Africa to try to eliminate all the Africans there in order to take over the land. South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia, they all had European owners, and their job was to eliminate the native population and take over the land. Keep some of the native population as long as you need their physical labor, keep them, but if they're not good as physical labor, eliminate them. And if they're good at physical labor, that would mean they would make money for you. That was the whole idea behind, you know, all the African colonies. Literally, if the Africans who weren't willing to work for the Europeans on the land so the European can make money, that African was eliminated. Sort of like either you work on the land as a slave for me so I can get wealthier, or I will kill you. If you're not useful to me, I will kill you. Sounds very similar to what Israel is doing in Arabian Peninsula. If the Arabs are not beneficial to the Israelis, Israel will eliminate them. If you're not beneficial to me, I'm going to eliminate you from the land. Either kill you or move you. Because you're not benefiting me. To the Sane Society. This is the problem with NPR and PBS and MSNBC. All the left, all these supposed progressives, is that no, you're not progressive. You I don't want to say you're prostitutes, but you're willing to dress imperialism in some very progressive attire. You're willing and able. People at MSNBC, people on the left, people on the Democratic Party. You're willing to dress imperialism in very appealing progressive colors. Obama colors, and then let's find a brown lady from India and another color. And that was the whole reason Tulsi apparently was appalled by the Democratic Party, that they accepted her colors as long as she's willing to accept their policies. And white Anglo-Saxons are willing to accept your colors as long as you're on board with their policies. You see what I mean? That's the whole idea of prosecuting these foreigners in North America, in Uncle Sam's land. It's like, if you're a foreigner, if you're officially not one of us, if you don't agree with our policies, we will prosecute you. What are those policies? Those policies are very white-friendly policies. If you don't agree with our white imperialist policies, which means that we, a small group of white people at the top of the white societies, we have to rule the world, the planet. If you're not on board with that, especially if you're not a citizen, we're gonna hang you from your feet and throw you to the sharks. Oh, we throw you in the oceans. Ocean may have some sharks. That's not our problem. This is the thing, and I love the fact that all these progressives are appalled. Why is Trump pushing this button in front of everybody? We were pretending that we are the good guys. We need to keep up pretense. We don't want to see that. This pretense business gets people in trouble. That's the whole idea behind this transgender business. It's pretense. The whole society has become more pretense friendly. The pretense. I mean, why is WWF used to be WWF? Why is it so popular? Why is pretense so popular within your societies? Why you have allowed pretense to be so appealing? Well-educated people are not really on board with pretense of any kind. You pretend I'm a woman, and you pretend I'm a man, and today I pretend I'm woman, and tomorrow I pretend I'm a man. The whole pretense of I'm an Ashkenazi. I pretend that I have some genetic relevance to Arabian Peninsula. You have as much as an Ashkenazi. You have as much relevance to Arabian Peninsula, Mr. John Stewart, as I do, which is not very much relevance to Arabian Peninsula. So this whole idea of going to somebody else's land, adopting their identity, Ashkenazi, going to Arabian Peninsula and adopting the Arabian identity of Semites, and then start killing the actual natives. Adopting the natives' identity and start killing the actual natives. And anybody who objects to this must be an anti-Semite. Dude, you're pretending you're the native of that land, and I'm the bad guy. And I'm the crazy guy. I must be prosecuted. You're pretending. The whole thing is a pretend. You're pretending. The Ashkenazis are pretending that they're Arabs. The women are pretending they're men. The men are pretending they're women. Again, this goes back to the progressives. The progressives should be the ones against pretense. The progressives are the ones who should be for modesty. Progressives are the ones who should be, hey, maybe we haven't got it right. Maybe democracy is not the best system. But you see, the progressives are the ones who are the most adamant that democracy is the best system. We will kill you to show you democracy is the best system. And that's the selling point, that we are so perfect that we should actually, for the cause of bringing democracy to natives somewhere, we will go kill them in order to bring them capitalism and democracy and Christianity. We will go kill them to show them that we are right. And NPR tries to, make this behavior as a noble, sell this behavior as a noble act, i.e. going and trying to convert the natives to your ways is somehow noble act. Did the natives ask for it? How sure are you that your way is the best? Progressive people are very modest. They are never sure that their way is the best. They're never sure democracy is the best system. They're never sure capitalism is the best. They're never sure about anything. That's how progressive people are. Because nothing is for certain. You can always learn new things. There can always be improvements. But the progressives and NPR have never objected to why aren't our people good readers? Why is our educational system is not so sound not to create a very pretentious society? It's a pretentious society. Again, pretense. Everybody is playing a role, and some people want to change their sexual role, and we should let them. And some people want to change this role. Everybody is playing a role, and Obama is not blowing up people.
Sign up for Whispering's Pure Stream
until WikiLeaks says otherwise. Again, that's as far as the progressives are concerned. The only problem with Trump is he does everything overtly, with pizzazz. How dare you? You didn't have any problem with people pushing buttons behind the curtain. You don't have a problem with Israel neither confirming nor denying all the assassinations and people invasions and bombings, and always Israel no did, and you don't have any problem with, those guys killed 1,000 of these guys, and these guys killed a couple of 100,000 of those guys. You don't have any problem with those numbers. Yes, they should get a pass because we have done wrong to them, the Holocaust, I guess. Because we have done wrong to them, oh, they get a pass. It's a naughty son. What can we do? I'm sorry. At one point, should a father say, no, maybe it's my son. Maybe it's not the rest of the whole fucking school. Maybe it's not the rest of the fucking planet. Maybe it's Israel. Maybe it's my son who's behaving badly. At what point? Maybe my son shouldn't be existing in the Arabian Peninsula. Maybe my son should be in Texas. Maybe my son, the Ashkenazis, should be in Poland or Hungary. Why are they in the Arabian Peninsula? On a suicidal mission. These Ashkenazis you have sent them to Arabian Peninsula on a suicidal mission. And each side believes on a different version of this suicidal mission. Father and son don't even agree on what is the outcome supposed to be of this suicidal mission. And Mr. Netanyahu is a child of that system over there, and he's behaving as such, and some of the progressives are saying that, yeah, the problem is not Netanyahu. It's like, really? You don't see anything wrong with the general idea of settling down white people in brown West Asia? You don't see a problem with that, my progressive friends, my champagne progressives. You don't see a problem with settling white people in brown land in this manner, not even as a, go there in a desegregated manner mixed with the population. No, in a very segregated, gated community like fashion. This is what the progressives are supporting. A very segregated European colony, forcefully removing the natives and increasing the size of their gated community, gated white European community in brown West Asia. And you're calling this what? You're calling this justified because, we did some bad shit to them. So, it's our special child. And we did some bad shit to the child, so now the child can get it out of his system in Asia. This is NPR. Pretentious, trying to sell imperialism as something good, something wholesome, as we are doing them good for bringing them capitalism, bringing them democracy, bringing them freedom, bringing them 7-Up, Coca-Cola, and Warren Buffett. We are doing them a service, and even if half of them have to die, so be it. No, progressive NPR folks, progressives are modest, always willing to learn, never set on any idea, no thought rigidity. They don't say we are the best, we should bring this form of democracy is the best, we should try to bring it to the rest of the world. A progressive would not say that my women in miniskirts are better than your women in covering, because my women are somehow free and your women are not free. No, a progressive would say, nah, that environment probably demands that kind of covering. This environment probably doesn't demand that kind of covering. To each his own. That kind, everything is environment dependent, whether it be it physical environment, psychological environment, social environment. A progressive would understand all of that. But you folks at NPR progressives, you don't. You're so, they got a Bible, the regressives have a Bible, and you also have a Bible. In your Bible, you're the best. Whatever you can come up with, your form of economy, your form of government, your form of how you carry yourself, your culture, your writers, your poets, these are all the best. I mean, English writers, oh God, Shakespeare was the second son of God. And, musicians, Amadeus. It was sort of like, okay, do you know much others? Have you come across any others? No, in our education system, even at the top, we only got introduced to these guys. Because we speak this language and we understand this form of music. This is our tribal music. But must be the best, correct? Of course, because it's me. I got the best penis. Salute.